Hey guys, Cole here with Golfcast again, episode number 2. It is Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Got a big show loaded up here for you guys today. I'm going to touch on Tiger again, the USGA, and the Players saga. I'm going to update you guys on your Masters odds for this year. I'm going to do some quick hit stuff. I'm going to do a golf tip. I'm going to do a big Bay Hill preview, official world golf ranking then and now, and I'm going to do an Arnold Palmer, remembering Arnold. All right, let's jump right into it, guys. So obviously Tiger's not playing at Bay Hill this week. News broke on Monday. Tiger sent out a tweet basically saying he has a neck strain. He's been receiving treatment, but he hasn't improved enough to the point where he can play this tournament, which is unfortunate. As a Tiger fan, as a golf fan, I hate to see him injured again. Now, to the degree in which he's injured, he didn't really lead on too much. He just kind of said it was a neck strain, and that's all he said. He said he wasn't playing, and he says he hopes he'll be ready for the Players next week. And I hope he's ready too, because like I said on Monday's show, if he's not playing in the Players, I think that would just be a bad sign for Tiger going forward. Everybody came off of last year so optimistic, and if he misses 2 tournaments in a row because of an injury, then we're back to where we were a couple years ago. So hopefully he plays next week. Hopefully he plays all right, and then going to the Masters, hopefully he's got a fair chance down there. So I would love to get your guys' feedback on this question. Do you guys think this is a one-time thing, or is this going to be a recurring thing from here on out? Send me some feedback, comment below, message me personally. I would just love to hear your guys' opinion on this and just kind of go from there. Another question I would love your feedback on: do you think Tiger could win playing a really, really limited schedule? Like, I'm talking like the majors and then like his favorite tour stops, and like that's it. Like, don't push himself at all. I think he probably could, just because he's Tiger Woods and he's that good. I think still at his age now, I still think he's that good. So I would love to hear your feedback on that. And then my biggest concern going forward with Tiger is just the fact, if he keeps getting hurt, what does that mean? Like, is that going to send him to an early retirement, which we kind of all thought was going to happen anyways? 2 years ago, we kind of all thought he was done. Like, I thought he was done. I didn't think he was going to play again. And then he comes back, he wins, and then we all get so excited again. Everything Tiger does, we seem to, we have that magnifying glass over it. So is that just another case of us magnifying it this week? Maybe it's not a big deal, this next strain that he has. Maybe he's hurt, doesn't want to push himself, doesn't want to force the issue, so he just took a week off. We'll play the Players next week, and then he'll prep for Augusta and then go down there and hopefully win. So my biggest concern is just the fact he's going to keep getting hurt, and then we're gonna see what we thought was going to be, a revival. This last part of his career could actually be, the most stressful and the most upsetting, just with him getting hurt constantly. So that's all I really have to say about that for today. Obviously, I'm going to touch on the USGA again a little bit, and the feud going on with the players, the PGA Tour players. I would love to get your opinion on this, guys. Do you think the new rules of golf are good or bad for the game in the immediate future and also for long term? So I think long term they're actually good for golf. I think there's a lot of good rules. I just think the fact that the USGA came out with all the rules all at once, it's just so overwhelming, even for the tour players, guys that do this professionally, and people on the amateur level, at the club that I work at, like we're doing a rules seminar on Saturday, and I just think it's going to be a million questions, just because it's kind of confusing. And the stuff that's going on at the highest level in golf on the PGA Tour with the USGA, that kind of adds fuel to the fire of players at the amateur level, not knowing what's going on. It's like, if these guys don't know what's going on or don't agree with it, we definitely aren't going to understand it. You know what I mean? So the USGA needs to do a better job of explaining why they're implementing these rules. So hopefully the PGA Tour and the USGA can kind of resolve this issue quickly. Jay Monahan, PGA Tour Commissioner, sent out a memo saying that the USGA and the PGA Tour have been have an ongoing, collaboratory process going on, and hopefully that's true. Hopefully the PGA Tour has been there from the beginning, and hopefully they get this resolved. A couple players came out in defense of Justin Thomas. Jim Furyk and Zach Johnson both came out in defense, basically, of JT and said that they agree with him. Jim Furyk also said he thinks it's a bad look for the tour, which I 100% agree with. That's kind of what I said earlier. I think it doesn't look good to the average like golf fan. Like it looks really petty, I think. Even though the players have some, they have a legitimate concern, I think, and a gripe with these new rules. I still think it kind of should be handled in-house, not on social media. But I guess in this day and age, everything is kind of aired out. All your dirty laundry is kind of aired out on social media. So maybe that's just the world we live in. I kind of think it would be better if they, closed doors, sit down and get it figured out, and then come out of that meeting with some type of resolution. Not not fighting back and forth on Twitter. That just looks childish. You know what I mean? The worst case scenario for the tour, or for the USGA rather, would be some players boycotting the U.S. Open. Now, I don't think this is going to happen because players obviously are going to play in whatever major they're qualified to play in because they want to win majors. Obviously, a major will change your life. Whether you're going for your 15th or your first major, like, it will change your life for sure. So I don't think any players will boycott the U.S. Open, but I think it would be kind of funny if they did. Not funny, but, if they want to stick to their guns and they, have this idea in their head and they want to stick to it, that would be one way to kind of show the USGA that they're serious, not that they're just like talking, not that they're just barking up a tree. So, like I said, I don't think that will happen, but I guess it could hypothetically. In a world of hypotheticals, it could happen. Somebody could hypothetically boycott the U.S. Open. Is the USGA disconnected from the PGA Tour? Obviously, I think that's abundantly clear with this whole debacle that's going on. And hopefully it gets resolved shortly because I don't want to hear about it much longer, that's for sure. Let's do a couple quick hit things. Got your Masters betting updates for you. This is via VegasInsider.com. We got DJ at 10-1. We got Spieth at 10-1. We got Rory at 11-1. We got Justin Rose, Justin Thomas, and Tiger Woods at 12-1. Brooks Koepka and Ricky Fowler at 14-1. Bryson DeChambeau and Jon Rahm at 16-1. Jason Day and Phil at 25-1. So just my initial thoughts. I think that's like if I had to pick 10 guys to win the Masters, those would be the guys right there. The only one I don't agree with at all is Spieth 10-1. I think that's laughable. I don't understand if you watch golf at all. I don't understand how you could think that Spieth's 10-1 favorite to win the Masters. I know he won there, and I know he has some good history there, but he's not playing well. He's trending poorly. What is he Literally, Jordan. He went up a spot this week in the world ranking. He's 25th in the world. Or no, he's 24th. So he went up a spot. He went from 25th to 24th. Okay, so he's 24th in the world. Not playing great. Not putting great. Not hitting it good, not doing anything well, really, and 10-1 favorite, I don't know. I don't agree with it. And one more thing on the odds here. I think if Rory wins this week, which I think he's got a great chance to win, I think he might jump to 10-1 or jump even better than 10-1 because, I think Rory right now, DJ's playing great, obviously, but I think Rory's playing just as great. He just doesn't have the wins. And I think depending on what he does this week at Bay Hill, he could jump up there to be the clear cut favorite to win the Masters. Players to look out for in the majors this year. This is kind of twofold. I think that the players to look out for in the majors this year, and also the best players without a major, are the same people. So I have Jon Rahm, Ricky Fowler, and Alexander Schauffele as the best players without a major, and I think they're also ones to look out for in the major season. I think Ricky, there's no doubt he's the one that we expect to win a major next. I mean, he had that year where he had top 5 finishes in all the majors. Last year he finished second at Augusta to Patrick Reed. So Ricky's got to get it done soon. Hopefully it's this year. Any of the majors he could win. He's got the game for any of them. It doesn't matter. But I hope he gets it done soon. Jon Rahm could sneak one in there. He could surprise us all. I think he's still a little bit fiery. Wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he gets too upset when he hits a bad shot. Still, he still throws clubs and stuff, which, tour players are trying to get away from. So he he's a great player. Obviously, he's a great physical talent. I think he's still mentally, though, kind of. I don't think he's there yet to win a major championship. But Schauffele, he's smooth. He seems to got it together, in his head. So maybe he could sneak one in. Maybe he could surprise us all. Another quick hit here. Most likely to complete the career Grand Slam this year, Rory, Jordan, or Phil. I'm gonna ride the bandwagon for Rory this year pretty hard. I think it's Rory all the way. I think he's gonna win this week. I think he's gonna win at Bay Hill, and I think he's gonna win the Masters probably. So it's definitely Rory. It's not Jordan, obviously. It's not Phil. Not saying that Phil couldn't win the U.S. Open, but if I had to pick a favorite or most likely, it's definitely Rory. Another quick hit here. I want to go. I would love to get your feedback on this. Do you guys think that Phil winning the U.S. Open this year would be better or more impressive than Jack winning the Masters in 1986? I think it would be, because the U.S. Open's a far more difficult tournament to win. The Masters is the weakest major field. There's no doubt about it. Phil's 48. Jack was only 46 when he won in 86. And the U.S. Open is just so demanding. The Masters is weak. It's a weak field. It's a small field. It's demanding, but it's not as demanding as the U.S. Open. So I think if Phil would win the U.S. Open this year, that kind of blows Jack in 86 way out of the water. Golf tip of the day for my final quick hit here. Here's a practice tip that I wish somebody would have told me when I was 15 or 16 years old, and that would be to not hit balls very much and practice your short game. Because I used to hit balls for 3-4 hours a day, and then I didn't even know what a putting green was when I first started golfing. I didn't go to a putting green. No, I hit 300 balls on the range for 3 hours, and then I would film my swing. I would go home. I would analyze my swing. I would go back the next day or whenever I would get back to the range, and it was a constant analysis and hitting balls, and I never ever practiced my putting. Few and far between. Maybe in high school a little bit when my coaches would force me to, but I was a range rat. I was a definition of a range rat. I would take a video camera, put it up on a tripod. I would film my entire session, 2 hours of me hitting balls. I would film basically until the camera would die. Then I would go home, put it on TV, and watch it for the whole night. And my swing got pretty nice. I hit the ball really well for a long time, but I wish somebody would have told me to practice my short game. And people probably did. I probably didn't listen. So take it from me, someone that used to shoot 80 with 40 putts in high school. Putting is where it's at. If I would have, been a great putter, I would have won a state championship probably. If I would have been a mediocre putter, I probably would have been, I would have been up there. I was a horrendous putter though. I was a terrible putter, and I was a terrible putter, but a great ball striker. So when you think you practice your short game enough, I think you should practice it even more than what you think, and maybe then you'll see some improvement. Another thing, guys, I think you should do, track your stats. When you're putting on the green, when you hit 5-footers, get a little notepad and a pen and write down how many you made in a row or how many you made out of 10. Just keep some stats, because if you have no baseline of where you stand, if you don't know where your skill sets are, then there's no reason for you to say that you're bad at something, because what you think is bad could be your average. You know what I mean? So until you establish a baseline, you have no right to say that you're good or bad at something. So it's very, very important in golf to keep your stats. These PGA Tour players, I'm telling you, they know their stats. They know their fairway percentages, their green percentages, their make percentages from certain distances, their up and down percentages. So it's very, very important to keep your stats and practice your short game way more than you should. If you think it should be 50-50, I'm saying it should be 70-30 short game. Honestly, 70-30 short game. All right, let's move on here. So here's the biggest part of the show, my Bay Hill preview. So what I did last night, I kind of went through the tee times for Thursday, picked a couple, featured groups. I don't know if they're the same featured groups as the PGA Tour Live has this year or for this tournament, but they're just ones I thought the winner's probably going to come out of one of these groups, I would think. So on number 10 tee at 7:54 a.m., that's tomorrow on Thursday, we got Ricky Fowler, Jason Day, Ian Poulter. Obviously, Fowler's trending in the right direction. He's already got a win this year. Had a good week last week. Jason Day is a past winner at Bay Hill. so he can always get it done. I feel like Jason Day has been kind of forgotten about, which I think is not really right, but he definitely has been forgotten about. He was number 1 in the world, so show him some respect. He can definitely play when he's on. He can play with the best of them when Jason Day's got his A game. He's as good as anybody in the top 10. He's 11th in the world, but he can beat any of them without a doubt, hands down. Ian Poulter obviously has been a force in the game for a long time. I don't think he really has a chance to win this week, but he can play well. He's capable of surprises for sure. Next group, 743 off of 10, Justin Rose, Brant Snedeker, and Henrik Stenson. Obviously, Rosie's playing. He has a good year. Has a good year going, I should say. He's got, I think, 2 top 10s of his last 3 starts, which is really impressive. Snedeker, obviously, great putter, great player, capable. Henrik Stenson, major champion. One of the best iron players out there for sure. He could win for sure. Off of 10T at 7:31 a.m. got Keegan Bradley, Jonathan Vegas, and Jimmy Walker. I kind of thought this was an interesting group. Not that I think any of these guys have a chance to win the tournament. I just Bradley and Walker, they're major champions. They've won. They've risen to the top before. Bradley had that big win last year in the playoff event. Johnny Vegas a couple of years ago I thought was going to be really, really good, and then he kind of fell off a little bit, and then Jimmy Walker, I know he was sick there for a while, but I would love to see him play well. I would love to see all 3 of those guys play well this week. I really would love it. I love all 3 of those guys. I think they're good guys, good players. In the afternoon wave, 12:33, here's the superstar group of the week for sure. It's Mark Leishman, Patrick Reed, and Rory McIlroy. So that's clearly that's the super group of the week. There's a couple of them, but I think Rory and Reed, they put them together almost too often, I think. I don't think it's fair. I know Rory's come out in the past against these super groups because I don't know. I don't feel like they're getting a fair shake. When you put Reed and Rory together, people are going to be following them. There's more commotion. There's just a lot more going on. I don't think it's right to always force these guys to play in these groups when the fans are going to be following them around. The players win no more money if they play with these guys. You know what I mean? They just don't. They get more TV coverage, which I don't know if that in their contract with their club companies or their sponsors makes them win or earn more money. But I don't know. I think it'd be more fair if they would just do it randomly rather than creating these super groups. It seems like every single week now. It's just it used to be sometimes they would do it, but sometimes it would just be random. Now it seems like every week, if they got some stars in there, they're putting them together. They're trying to get as many viewership. The Golf Channel wants viewers. I get it. They're trying to make money, but I don't know if it's fair to the players. I know Rory's been pretty outspoken about it. He doesn't think it's fair, really, or if it's a good idea, which I kind of tend to agree with Rory on that. Another good group going off of 1 tomorrow at 12:44. We got Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Brooks Koepka. So obviously another super group there, studded group. Mickelson, DeChambeau, and Koepka. Koepka obviously coming off a good week last week. DeChambeau finished second to Rory last year in this tournament, so he knows the course. He could play well this week, I think. And Mickelson, I don't know. He could have a good week or he could miss the cut. You never really know with Phil. He's kind of a mixed bag always. He's always kind of been like that. And then one other group, kind of an interesting group, kind of like the Bradley, Vegas, Walker group. It's got off a 10T at 12:21 tomorrow, Charles Howell III, Danny Willett, and Tommy Fleetwood. So I think of those players, probably Fleetwood's got the best chance to actually win the golf tournament. Of that group, he's going to perform the best, I would be willing to bet. Danny Willett won the Masters and then fell off the face of the planet. Charles Howell's been around for a long time. He's a good player. He's solid. I would like to see him win or play well at least. But I think Fleetwood of that group is the one that's got the best chance to win. Some other notables in the field. We got Ryan Moore's playing, Davis Love III's playing, Francesco Molinari, Hideki Matsuyama, Siwoo Kim, Steve Stricker's playing, Graham McDowell's playing, Shane Lowry's playing, Hunter Mahan's playing, and Ernie Els is playing. So just some notables. I kind of thought that was some interesting guys. I hope Hideki has a good week. You know, I'm a Hideki fan. Striker's playing, which is cool. You know, I don't know how he's going to play. I don't know how much he's playing, really. McDowell, Lowry, Hunter Mahan. I remember Hunter Mahan years ago. You know, I thought he was going to win a major, and then he kind of fell off a bit. Ernie Els, obviously one of the greatest players of the past 20 years. So just some notables there. Just go over a little course detail here. Bay Hill is a par 72. I'm gonna do a little course breakdown a little bit later, so we'll get into that then. What I think the winning score is gonna be. It's a par 72. That's 288 shots total. I'm gonna go over the last couple of years winners here and just kind of give you an idea, and then make my prediction. So in 2018. Rory shot 270, that's 18 under. In 2017, Leishman shot 277, that's 11 under. In 2016, Jason Day shot 271, that's 17 under. 2015, Matt Every shot 269, that's 19 under. In 2014, Every shot 275, that's 13 under. In 2013, Tiger Woods shot 275, 13 under. So just looking at the past 6 winners there, I think the winner is going to be somewhere in that 14 to 16 under range. A lot of it depends on the course condition. If it's firm, if it's fast, if it's soft, obviously scores will be lower. If it's firm, scores will be higher. I don't know what kind of shape the course is really in. So, but I'm pretty confident in my 14 to 16 under range. I think that will be where the winner is for sure. Favorite to win. I don't know how you're not picking Rory this week, honestly. He won there last year. He loves the course. I think he loves the tournament. He's trending right now. There's no doubt about it. He's got 4 top 5s in his last 4 starts. He's first in strokes gained off the tee. He's first in strokes gained tee to green. And he's first in strokes gained total. So if you're not picking Rory this week, I don't really know what you're looking at, to be honest. He is definitely the overwhelming favorite to win this golf tournament. Especially last year, the way he kind of ran away with it. He shot like 64 in the final round, I think. Played great, so I don't know how he's not your favorite. A couple other top contenders, I think. Justin Rose, he's number 2 in the world. He's got 2 top 10s in his last 3 starts, so he's playing well. He's trending. He has the lowest scoring average in the first 2 rounds, so he's got the lowest scoring average before the cut at 67.0. So he's playing well Thursday, Friday. It's just Saturday and Sunday he's just not playing as well, or not well enough to win. I mean, he's still got some top 10 finishes, so he's playing good. He's just, 67.0 average on Thursday and Friday. He's playing some golf, I tell you what. But he's got to get it a little bit tighter on the weekend. But don't ever forget, it's tough to win out there. It's not easy. Even if you're Justin Rose, it's not easy. And I don't think it gets easier, really. Every win means a lot to these guys because it's not easy, and I don't think someone like me, I've never played on tour. I probably will never play on tour. I don't even know how hard it is. I can't even fathom it probably. So I respect these guys so much because I know how hard golf actually is. So a lot of golf fans are so quick to pass judgment on these guys, but it's a hard game, and it doesn't get any easier, that's for sure. Jason Day is another one I could see playing well this week. He's the past champion. He won back in 2016. Like I said earlier, I think Day, if Day's playing well, he can compete with anybody. He's every bit as good as DJ. He's every bit as good as Rory or any of those guys. JT, Ricky, he's good. I think he had some family things going on there, and he just wasn't playing as well. But if Day's on, look out. He's tough to beat. Him and Spieth had the duel in the PGA when he won it. And Spieth said, I thought I was going to win. He played so good and still lost. That's how good Jason Day is. So, Hideki, he's 27th in the world. I hope he has a really good week. I would love to see Hideki win again. One of my favorite players out there, honestly. That swing's gorgeous. Everybody loves it. DeChambeau finished three shots out of first last year. He finished second. So obviously he knows the track, like I said earlier, and I could see him playing well this week. I could see DeChambeau playing well any week. I'm not a huge fan of his really, but I gotta give him credit. He's a good player. He can get it done. And then Tommy Fleetwood. I would love to see him win. I think he's got the game. Obviously, a lot of people think he's got the game. So I would love to see him win this week. I don't know if he's trending in the right direction. I don't know how he's really been playing this year, but he could definitely get it done. Let's see where Fleetwood's 14th in the official World Golf ranking. So he's doing all right. So let me click on him. Yeah, so he really hasn't been playing that great. He had a T19 in Mexico. At the Genesis Open, he T28, T45 at Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and then at the Dubai Desert Classic, he had a T16. So he hasn't been playing great lately. Like his highest, start or his highest finish there is T16. But like I said, he could turn it on this week. You never know. I mean, look at Day's past couple. Yeah, so Day's actually trending in a way better way. So at Pebble Beach, he finished T4. At the Farmers, he finished T5. And at Century Tournament of Champions, he finished 13th. So Day's playing good. I mean, there's a couple top 5 finishes right there. So he could get it done this week. I would like to see him win again at Bay Hill. Who else? Let me look at Hideki, how he's been playing lately. So Hideki, yeah, he moved up to 27th in the world. So Hideki in Mexico finished T19. The Genesis, he finished T9. In Phoenix, he finished T15. And at the Farmers Insurance, he finished T3. So kind of a mixed bag there. They're all top 20s in his past, in his past 4 starts, they were all top 20s. So Hideki, obviously great player. I hope he kind of moves up a bit. I hope he gets in the top 20 in the world by the end of this year. That'd be nice. Hopefully he gets a win this year. Obviously he's playing fairly decent this year. So, he could be trending in the right direction for this tournament. DeChambeau, I guess I'll pull him up here real quick. He's 5th in the world, which is crazy. Mexico, terrible week, T56. Genesis, he finished T15. He played over in Saudi Arabia, he finished T6. And then Omega Dubai Desert Classic, he won it. So, a couple good weeks, obviously with the win, and then last tournament not so great. So, not sure what to expect from him this week. The only reason I kind of picked him was because he played so well last year. He finished 2nd. So, we'll see. We'll see where he goes from here. All right, so I want to do a little official World Golf ranking then and now. So, here's the top 12 in the world right now. It's Dustin Johnson, Justin Rose, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Bryson DeChambeau, McIlroy, Ricky Fowler, Alexander Schauffele, John Rahm, and then Francesco Molinari. All right, so that's the top 10 in the world right now. In 2004, this was your top 10. All right, it was VJ, Woods, Els, Mickelson, Davis Love III, Retief Goosen, Mike Weir, Padraig Harrington, Adam Scott, and Jim Furyk. All right. So you look at that top 10, and you're like, that's pretty impressive too. And I thought this top 10 was super impressive. And Tiger's not even in it. Tiger's 12th in the world. So just looking at that, if we do a little mock Ryder Cup thing, say we had 10 singles matches going on. I'm going to kind of go through who I think would win these matches. All right. So you got DJ versus VJ. Wow, right? Wow. DJ's got the power. VJ's obviously got all the game in the world. Now, if we're going the version of the 2004 version of these guys versus the current version of these guys, so I still think I got to give the edge to DJ just because of the power there. But so DJ, and then Woods versus Rose, a 2004 Woods versus Justin Rose. I got to give it to Woods, obviously. And then Ernie Els versus Brooks Koepka. What a match that would be, honestly. A 2004 Ernie Els against Brooks Koepka. Whew. I don't even know who to pick. Koepka's. I got to pick Els. So let me mark off who I'm picking here. So I'm picking Woods, picking Els, and then Mickelson versus Justin Thomas. Got to give it to Mickelson. I think Mickelson beat Justin Thomas in a tournament last year. So a 2004 version of Phil, probably even better. Davis Love versus DeChambeau. Whew, I don't even know. Davis Love's been a great player for a long time. He's got a lot of wins. It's so much up in the air. I got to give a slight edge to Davis Love III. Just because maybe my bias against DeChambeau is playing in there, but at least I'm admitting it. Retief Goosen against Rory. I got to give it to Rory. So, got to give that one to Rory. Mike Weir against Ricky Fowler. Got to give it to Fowler. Just for length alone. Harrington versus Schauffele. Obviously, Harrington's got the majors, but they were later in his career. They weren't in 2004, I don't think. I think he won a bunch after Tiger got hurt in 2008. I think he won like 2 majors that year after. I think he won like the British that year and the PGA, and then won the next year maybe. Wow, All right, so Schauffele versus Padraig Harrington. After much deliberation, I gotta give it to Schauffele. I think he probably is the better player. He doesn't have any majors, but that's yet to be seen. Adam Scott versus Jon Rahm. Gotta give it to Scott. I think Jon Rahm's a little bit too fiery and he too emotional on the golf course, I think. And then Furyk versus Francesco Molinari. Wow. Right? 2 players that are almost exactly the same, it seems like. That's a toss-up, I think. But I don't know. I got to give it to Furyk, I suppose. So let's count up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 6-4, 2004 official World Golf Ranking top 10. So the reason I did this is because I used to not buy into the whole. I would talk about Tiger and his dominance, and defending Tiger. I would be like, well, even if Tiger were to play against these guys now, he would still dominate them. And people come back at me and they're like, fields are so much stronger now. Tiger wouldn't dominate. He wouldn't win the way that he won back then because the players, the fields weren't as deep. Okay, sure. Maybe that's true. Maybe the fields to 144 aren't quite as deep. But you can argue that Tiger made the fields deeper. Like, it was him getting people involved in golf that wouldn't have golfed before that made the fields deeper. And if you look at the top 10, I mean, I just did a mock Ryder Cup and it's 6-4. So basically, the players in 2004 are every bit as good or better than the players now. They definitely have more major championships. Like, if you look at the top 10 now, Dustin's got a major, Justin Rose has got majors, Koepka's got majors, Thomas got a major, DeChambeau doesn't, Rory does, Ricky doesn't, Schauffele doesn't, Rahm doesn't, and Molinari does. If you look at this top 10 back in 2004, Vijay, yes, Woods, yes, or Yells, yes, they all have majors, right? Els, Mickelson, Love, Goosen, Weir, Harrington, Scott, and Furyk, they all are major champions. Do I think that all these players in the top 10 right now are going to be major champions? Maybe. I don't know, though. I mean, the one probably least likely to win a major, I think, is DeChambeau. Once again, there's my bias coming out. I don't know. Maybe he might win 10 majors. Who knows? But the whole argument that Tiger wasn't playing against great players is absurd to me. I mean, Phil, 44 wins in 5 majors. Like, wow. Ernie Els would have, like, a bunch more majors if it wasn't for Tiger. Because Tiger beat him a lot at Pebble. He beat him. Els was 3 over. Tiger was 12 under. But, hey. So, I don't know. I just don't buy into that argument. I think it's kind of bogus. It's Tiger hating is what it is. these people that don't like Tiger for some reason. I don't get it. Like, if you think Tiger's not the most exciting golfer to ever to exist, like, I can't even talk to you really about it, because you're just being disingenuous. You're not telling the truth. You have some type of vendetta against Tiger. You don't like him because he used to win or whatever, the whole scandal thing. I don't get it though. I mean, he did his time. Clearly, he's suffered enough in his life. Like, I mean, in the latter part of his life, like, he couldn't walk a year ago. Like, let the guy go. Clearly, he's exciting, and people love to watch him. He brings the average sport fan in to watch golf when he's contending. And if you're a fan of golf, you should like that. You should want more people to be watching. You should want more people to be playing. So anybody that gives me this nonsense about Tiger, I don't have time for that. And if somebody would actually want to debate me about it and have a real genuine debate, and you want to argue the numbers about whether Tiger was playing against worse players, like right there, I gave you an example that he was playing against great players. Like, if I would add up all the wins of those players, like, I'm sure it would be in the hundreds for sure. So, like, I don't know. If somebody wants to debate me, I'm more than willing, but don't just throw these accusations out that Tiger was just not playing against great players when you have no statistical data to back it up. So just some crazy stats, you know. So I just kind of went over whether a 25-year-old Tiger would dominate these players. Clearly, I think that he would. It might even make him better, I think. It might have made him work harder. You know, it might have. You could argue if Tiger would have played more, he would have won more. He didn't play that many tournaments a year. Like, there's no doubt that he could have played more and just kept racking up the wins, but he chose not to. So he won 80 times playing a relatively limited schedule. So, like I said, it just doesn't hold up. If you actually look at the numbers and you actually know the full picture, like, it just doesn't hold up. Crazy stats. Tiger was number 1 in the world for 683 weeks. That's like 12 years, I think. Rory was number 1 in the world for 95 weeks. So I remember when Rory came out and he won that major at Congressional, Patrick Harrington said that Rory was going to win 20 majors. That's what he said. He said, I remember him saying that. Patty came out and said Rory's going to win 20 major championships. He's got, what, 4? Right? He's got 4. Let me look it up just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure he has 4. And he's not getting to 20. He's not even getting to 10, probably. So it's just, everybody is a victim of the time. You know, everybody has this horrible recency bias. You know, they have no perception of the greater picture. They just think that because this guy's playing great right now, he's the greatest ever, and it's just not true. You need to have some perspective on these things. I mean, that stuck with me when he said that. I was like, 20 majors? What, are you kidding me? 20 majors? People are arguing that their fields are better now, and there's no real clear number 1. Like DJ, I guess, but I still don't think it's yeah, Rory's got 4 majors. He won the U.S. Open in 2011. I thought it was 2010, but I guess that was at Bay Hill when Graham McDowell won, actually. So 2011, he won the Open in 2014. He won the PGA in 2012 and 2014. So he's got 4. He's got 4 majors. Okay, and Patty said he was gonna get 20. How old is Rory? He's 29. He's almost 30. So benefit of the doubt, let's give him 15 more solid years, or 16 even. Like, he's not getting to 20. He's not getting to 10 probably. Maybe he will. I don't know. I would like to see him get to 10. But he's not getting to 20. Sorry, Harrington. You can't just say absurd things like that. I mean, I say absurd things like that, but at least I try to, like, back it up with some type of, like, data. So everybody suffers from this recency bias. You see it in everything. You see it almost in all sports. You see it in, you know, all media, everything. You just see this horrendous recency bias. Everybody thinks that they're the greatest ever because the age of the internet, everything's so blown up now, blown out of proportion. It's awful. So yeah, so Rory, number 1 in the world for 95 weeks. Luke Donald, 56 weeks, had no majors. DJ's been number 1 in the world for 81 weeks. Okay. And Jason Day. So Tiger has been number 1 in the world for 600 more weeks than DJ. And there's guys on Golf Channel saying that DJ is the best player of his generation, or he's the best player of after the Tiger generation. That's fair, but how much better was Tiger? A lot better. A lot better. Jason Day, was #1 for 51 weeks. So just some perspective. All I ask is for people to have a little bit of perspective on these things. And if you're going to come out with these accusations about Tiger and how he wouldn't dominate these players now, if Tiger wasn't jumping out of planes, he might have won 25 majors. You know, if you read The Big Miss, I read it. I thought it was a great book, but you know, Tiger denies it. I think a lot of the stuff they say about him training, wanted to quit golf and basically become a Navy SEAL. You know, if Tiger was that good and wasn't even focused, or wasn't as focused as he could have been. So I don't know. It just if you have the whole picture, it just doesn't hold any, it doesn't hold any weight with me. You got to come at me with some actual numbers and tell me why. I mean, Tiger's game is so much stronger. It's just better. It was better back then. It's, it could still dominate now. Probably his game, his iron game is still arguably the best. So I don't know. So all right, I'm gonna close the show with a little remembering Arnold Palmer today. So a couple things that are really cool about Arnold Palmer. I'm from Pennsylvania, and Arnie's from PA. He's from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. That's where he was a member of Latrobe Country Club, I believe it is. Arnie's got 62 tour wins. That's 5th all time on the PGA Tour wins list. So he obviously had a wonderful career. He won a lot. Back then it's crazy though. They didn't make a ton of money like they make now. I think I heard a stat once that like Jack and Arnold's like tour earnings like didn't even combine to be like $5 million or something like that, or 10 million maybe. Now like a guy's like making that in a year. Like if he plays well, he's making 10 million. The FedEx Cup pays 10 million. If you win the FedEx Cup, you get 10 million. So he, they attribute a lot of the purses going up to Tiger, which is true. But Arnie had a lot to do with it too. Like Arnold's Army rather. He got golf on TV. He started Golf Channel, which I am so grateful for. Like I think that's one of the greatest things he ever did, was to take that risk and start Golf Channel. So we have golf 24/7. Like look what that's done for the game. I think it's absolutely incredible. He has 7 major championships, but he did not win. He did not win the career Grand Slam, which is crazy to me. 7 majors and didn't get them all, which is insane. I'm pretty sure he didn't win the PGA ever. It's crazy. I'll double check for you guys just to make sure. I don't want to say something that's incorrect. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't win the PGA. Yeah, so he won the Masters 4 times. He won 1 U.S. Open in 1960. He won the Open twice, and he finished tied for 2nd in the PGA 3 times, which is crazy. He never won the PGA. He didn't win the career Grand Slam. So that's a hit against him, I guess you could say. Like, oh, he didn't win the career Grand Slam. If he would have won the career Grand Slam, that kind of puts you in another tier of players. But he had his chances. He had a chance as late as 1970. Wow, it's crazy. His first major win was in 1958. That's like before my dad was born. That's crazy. It's like 5 years before my dad was born. It's insane. So, he did a lot for the game of golf, and that's why players love his tournament, and they love him so much. And that's why he's Mr. Palmer to these guys, because the respect that everybody in golf should have for Arnold Palmer is just, it's obvious. Like, he's the guy. I know somebody who, they used to have a quote by Palmer up. What was it? I forget now. But, yeah, he means a lot to a lot of people. So, most of his money that he's, his net worth is up there for sure. I'd be willing to bet it's in the hundreds of million. Most of that money, though, was won after the fact. Like, wow, you're not even gonna believe this. All right, I'm gonna go to. All right, let me go here. Hang on. Oh, I can't find it. Usually it's like when you type that in. Okay, this says Palmer eventually amassed a net worth of 700 million. 700 million. That is freaking crazy. And most of that was all done after golf. He did not win. He wasn't winning $1 million when he won tour events. That's for sure. That is for sure. So he obviously a great businessman. Obviously he was so brilliant. He flew his own plane to tour stops. I don't think a lot of people realize that. He had his own pilot's license and flew a plane from stop to stop, which is really cool. He was inducted to the World Golf Hall of Fame in 1974. So he's obviously in the Hall of Fame. How would he not be in the Hall of Fame? A couple things that stand out to me when I think about Arnold Palmer. I hope a lot of you probably have seen the video, his last U.S. Open press conference. I think in his last U.S. Open when he he started tearing up, and I guess everybody, you couldn't see it on the video, but everybody, all the the media people stood up and gave him a standing ovation, which I guess is not professional to do in that circumstance, but they all did because there's so much respect, and everybody in that room knew that they benefited from him so much that they owed that to him. We all owe so much. Anybody in the golf business they owe something to Tiger, or they need to at least appreciate these two guys. They need to appreciate Tiger, and they need to appreciate Palmer because they did so much for the game, and it's probably, there's no way to quantitatively tell what they did for it, but they definitely did. And then the helicopter finish. I remember being on the range with my dad, and we would just be I would be there for a couple hours, and he would be there. And towards the end, we'd just kind of be messing around. He'd always tell me to do the Arnold Palmer, the helicopter finish. So it was always fun. That was something me and my dad always thought was funny. The way that he would come around and do that, that huge hold off that he would do. So those are the things that kind of stick out. About Arnold Palmer to me. Also, Latrobe is where Rolling Rock beer is made, which is one of my favorite beers, or it used to be. So it all comes back around. So all right, guys, that pretty much concludes it for episode number 2 of Golfcast. Bear with me here. I'm trying to get better day after day. I'm going to be setting up a Patreon account if anybody wants to show some support for me and help me, get new equipment and make sure that the show runs a little bit smoother. Other than that, I'll see you back here. I'll probably do another show tomorrow or Friday. I'll have to see. So have a good one, guys. Enjoy the tournament this week, and if you guys get out for some golf, play well. Hey guys, Cole here again. So as I promised earlier, I'm going to go through some of the holes at Bay Hill and just, I'm going to talk about where I think the players have to get the course this year, and, the par 5s, obviously, and some of the tougher holes at Bay Hill. So here's number 1. It says from the tips it's 461 yards. It's a relatively benign starting hole here. It's 461 yards, so that's a mid-ish to long par 4 for these guys. It's a dogleg left. Players will probably, they might not hit driver here. They might take something less than driver and aim it out at the traps, and then, have a mid-iron approach into the green. Overall, like I said, a relatively benign starting hole. Number 2 is a tough par 3, 230 yards. The green, as you can see, is pretty narrow. It's long from, front to back, but it's pretty narrow, so, 2 bunkers kind of guarding the pin, depending on where they put it, but I always thought this was a tough hole at Bay Hill. Number 3, the first hole at Bay Hill with some water, 430 yards. It's a relatively, it's not a super long hole. Players once again have the option to take something less than driver and kind of aim it out here towards the bunker and give themselves about 140 to 150 into the green. I think that's what a lot of players will do on this hole. Number 4 is the first par 5 here. As you can see, you got the creek running down the right side. Players will hit their drive out into this area and have long iron to 5-wood type distance into the green. A lot of players will be going for this 1 and 2, I think. Number 5, short par 4. Players could lay back behind this bunker and still have, less than 150 yards in. So that's probably what a lot of them do. I don't think a lot of them will try to carry the bunker. Maybe they will. I'm not sure. Number 6, probably one of my favorite holes at Bay Hill. Par 5 with all the water down the left. So here, what's important for the players off the tee is to pick a line and commit to it. Anything, if they're not committed to their tee shot, they can end up in the water in a hurry on this hole. And even their second shot, they just have to pick a target out behind the green somewhere and just go for it. They can't think about the water. Number 7, par 3, relatively benign hole. It's got four greenside bunkers. 199 yards, be like 6 iron, 5 iron-ish for these guys. Maybe some 7 irons, depending on where the tees are. Relatively straightforward hole though. Number 8, I always like this hole too at Bay Hill, kind of like a double dog leg type deal. 460 yards, so it's relatively long. Players will probably take their tee shots out at the trap and maybe hit a fade off of it, give themselves, less than 150 yards into the green. Number 9, this is just a good long par 4. 470 yards. They're going to hit their drive out here somewhere. Going to have a longer approach into the green, but it's a good hole. It's a good 9th hole for sure. Number 10, a little dogleg right, relatively straightforward, no tricks. There's no tricks on this golf course in general. Got some fairway bunkering out here where the guys are trying to hit their drive, so it's going to be, they got to kind of thread the needle on this one to give themselves a chance. It's not long though. It's not a long hole. It's only 400 yards from the tip, so not super long. Next hole, got some more water. Another dogleg around the water here. This one's a little bit more straightforward. It's not as much of a dogleg at the tee shot, so players will be able to just kind of hit it straight out and then have a relatively short shot into the green. Number 12, par 5, 574 yards. Got some, fairway bunkering out there. Let's see here. It says from the championship tee to this bunker. There's 294, and then so they're probably gonna have to aim it at that bunker and hit a little cut off of it, or take it at this trap and just hit a draw all over that one. But guys will be going for this par 5 in 2, as they do most par 5s these days, right? They don't lay up a whole lot. Right here, this is just a position hole off the tee. It's only 370 yards, so just be hitting something, maybe a long iron hybrid off the tee here, get in between these 2 traps, and then just give themselves a nice distance for their second shot. 14, another straightforward par 3 at Bay Hill. No tricks about this one, just pretty straightforward. Couple bunkers here, 2 kind of on the front left, and then 2 behind the green, but relatively easy hole. They're gonna have to watch though. If they hit their approaches out this way, it will run off here. It's probably shortly a closely mown area up there, so they gotta watch. 15, another dogleg here at Bay Hill. Shorty though, it's only 429 yards. Players will be trying to have 150 yards in here. Just hitting whatever they have to hit to get to that spot. 16, a short par 5. Obviously, this is where the tournament's going to be won or lost, I think. If they can get a birdie or an eagle coming in, that could change the dynamic of the tournament near the end. So this is a very, very important hole. I think at Bay Hill, all 4 par 5s are really important to play at least, I'm thinking 6, 7, 8 under par throughout the week. So it's important to get the par 5s. 17, cool little par 3 here. Probably the toughest par 3, I think. Got this bunker here that leads right into the water. Green's kind of an awkward shape. So players got to be defensive on this one. This isn't a par 3. You're going after the flag. And then finally, the 18th hole at Bay Hill. We all know it. We all love it. It's more a positioning hole off the tee. And then obviously the greens, it's a tough green. It's kind of an odd shape here. We've seen Tiger make all those putts over the years on this green, but it's not an easy finishing hole by any stretch of the imagination.
All right, thanks, guys.